Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I can't believe I'm saying it, but my little girl who just was getting her teeth yesterday is now losing her first tooth. I cannot believe I'm saying it. And by the time this video is probably uploaded and going live on YouTube, we have probably already lost that first tooth. So it's wiggling more and more each day, which meant I had to get down here to craft because I had some ideas for the tooth fairy and we're just going to make this so fun and magical. So I'm going to be showing you 3 ideas for how you can create tooth fairy magic with your Cricut machine. All of the ideas are so easy, so beginner friendly, and I think they turned out really cute. I'm also going to walk you through the crafts step by step so you know exactly what to do next, and I think you're really going to love how these crafts turn out. Also, I forgot to mention in my tutorial, but I also have a little tooth fairy door that we're going to use. I actually have had this since she was about 1 year old, so I'm really excited that we're finally going to be using this. So you can place this along a baseboard, and then this is just a little tooth fairy door for where the tooth fairy can come to get their little tooth and leave little prizes. And the door actually opens and closes as well. So it's super, super cute. So let's go ahead and hop into the tutorial. I can't wait to show you these 3 craft ideas. I really love how they turned out and I hope this inspires you. Be sure you're subscribed if you're new here so you don't miss what's coming to my channel next. All right, let's get started. I can't believe I'm saying this, but our first is starting to lose her first tooth. And I want to be prepared because I thought I was going to have some time, but it seems like any day now it's going to come out. So I'm trying to get ready for tooth fairy time, and I'm going to show you 3 ideas that I thought would be pretty fun for this little momentous occasion. So we are going to create this little tooth fairy box. I found these at Hobby Lobby. They're little, it looks like a little macaroon. I've been eyeing these for years, so I bought some for my girls so that they would be all prepped for tooth fairy time. So I'm going to decorate this little box, and then it opens up and I'll show you what I'm going to do inside to get it ready for placing their little tooth inside. So I have a nice shimmery vinyl here. This is a Cricut vinyl. I don't know quite what it is, but it's really, really neat. And then this is a shimmery white. So very, very fun for both of those. Then I have a weeding tool, and then I have some tweezers because I'm not even going to use transfer tape for this project. It's so easy to do that I'm just going to do it with tweezers and save some time. And I also have some scissors. So we're going to start off with this project, then stay tuned because we're also going to be making a cute little note that the tooth fairy is going to leave. So we're going to have our Cricut cut out a little note. It's going to be really cute. And then finally we're going to make some confetti with the Cricut, and I thought that would be really fun to have the note and then this little box with her tooth in it and then confetti sprinkled around for the tooth fairy. So I think this is all going to be really, really fun, and I can't wait to show you how it all turns out. So let's get started. Okay, so in Cricut Design Space, I went into images on the left-hand side and I typed in crown to find this image, and then I typed in tooth to find this image. So let me make these a little bit bigger, and then what I'm going to do is I already have them sized where I want them, so you'll just size them for the container that you are going to do. But I want to do some editing because both of these are going to be cut out of very small pieces, so I want to make them as simple as possible. So when you're cutting things out that are really small, you want to pick and keep to basic designs to have a successful cut. So what I'm going to do for this crown is, you'll notice it has 2 layers. I'm actually going to hide the top layer, and we're just going to use this layer. I think that looks really, really nice. It's really, really basic. And then I'm going to come up here and I am going to actually change the color to more of a gold. And we're going to make that really neat holographic vinyl. And then for this, I'm going to do some contouring and I'm going to remove these little pieces. I think they're very, very cute, but I think for the size that I'm cutting out, it would be better without them there. So I'm going to select my tooth, I'm going to come over to contour, and then I am simply going to click on the areas of the image that I want to remove the cut. So I'll simply click those areas. I think I have all of them. Let's see, I can just also click over here. So I'm just keeping the tooth outline. So then I click out and you'll see that that is all done. You can cut this on any cutting machine. I'm personally going to use the Cricut Explorer 2 simply because it's what's on my craft table right now. So I'm going to go ahead and say make it. Now I made them 2 different colors so it would place them on 2 different mats. You can also put them on the same color and then just do your cutting on the same mat and put different pieces on the mat, if that makes sense. Then I'm going to click continue,
and then we will make our material selection.
Okay, so before anything, I'm going to take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and I am just going to prep the surface. So I just like to spray a little rubbing alcohol on my surface and make sure it's nice and clean. There was a little bit of residue on there just from shipping, so you want to remove any residue, any oils that may be on your hands. I like to have lotion on my hands all the time, so it's nice to make sure that I didn't accidentally get anything on there. That will just help the vinyl stick much better. Okay, so we're all prepped and all set. So now I will take my vinyl and just have that all weeded out and ready to go. So I have my little tooth, which you'll see in a moment, but that's on a white carrier sheet. Okay, so how cute is this little crown? Isn't that so cute? I think it's gonna just turn out really pretty on this little tooth box. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is you can certainly use transfer tape if you'd like, and if that makes you feel more comfortable, but these are just such small pieces that you can apply them like a sticker and just save that step. So I'm just gonna use my tweezers and line it up where I would like it, being mindful of where the front of the little box is, so that it lines up that way as well. And I'm just going to place it right here. That looks good. And then simply press it down with my finger. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my little crown. So I just kind of bend that little carrier sheet back a little bit and gently remove the vinyl. And then place it right here. Now I think this little guy comes in a variety of colors, the box. So I can't remember all the colors because obviously my mind goes straight to pink. But how cute did that turn out? That is so cute. Okay, so for the inside, what I'm going to do is it's perfectly sized for these little cotton circles that you use either for nail polish remover or makeup, or I use them even when I'm crafting. So I just piled 4 on top of one another to give it a nice cushiony feel, and I'm going to simply press those into the bottom, and then it makes for a nice little cushion. And then when that tooth finally comes out, we're just going to place it right inside, close it, and then this is where the tooth fairy will find her tooth. How cute. I love it. Okay, let's go ahead and pop into Cricut Design Space again, and the next thing we're going to do is we are going to do the little note that the tooth fairy is going to leave. It's going to be really cute. We'll show you how to use the Cricut pens, and I'll show you how to get it all designed in Design Space so it's ready to write and cut on the Cricut.
Okay, so here we are back in Cricut Design Space. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create the tooth fairy notes. So I'm going to come over to shapes and I'm going to grab a square. My first square is going to be 5 by 5. So I'm just going to type in 5 inches to make that 5 by 5. And then I'm going to make that pink. That's just going to be my little background layer. I'm actually going to cut this out separately on a little paper trimmer just because I find that easy and quick, but I'm going to use it for visual purposes for designing the card. So now I'm going to actually design the actual card that we're going to write on, and I'm going to use another square. So I'm going to grab another square, place it right on top. I'm going to make this piece white. Then I'm going to size this at 4.5 by 4.5 and then place that right on there. Now, Cricut Design Space has a little tooth fairy note that's really cute and is a very, very similar idea, and I was inspired by it, but I'm going to create my own just a little bit differently. So be sure to search for tooth fairy in the images section if you want to use a pre-made note. But I was having trouble figuring out how to edit the other one, and plus I wanted to use a little bit of a different text. So I went ahead and made my own. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to text, and then I am going to use a text called kickball. Now when you're going to be using the pen to write, you want to filter for writing fonts, and that's going to help you find fonts that are really good for writing with the pen. So I am going to search for kickball because I really think it's very cute for this, and it's very childlike, so I think it's going to be really, really fun. So I'm going to select that, and once I've selected it, I can start writing the text that I intend to put on the card. So I'm going to say, what a sparkly tooth, and I'm just selecting enter when I want to move to another line. And then I'm going to say, thank you for taking such good, whoops, I'm going to actually make that another line. So enter, good care of it, and then exclamation point. Okay, so now that I have my text, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to alignment and I'm going to center my text. That way it's all centered. And then I'm going to size that down for my actual note. So I can size it down, drag it onto my card, just like this. And I will actually bring that back up. I think that'll look nice. And then just visually center that where I would like it. Bring that down a little bit. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my text box and I'm just going to duplicate it, and then I'm going to double click it, take everything out, and just retype in a different sentiment and say, love the tooth fairy. Okay, and then the reason I put that in a separate text box is just because I'm going to put it near the bottom in a different location. So I'm going to make that just a little bit smaller than the rest. And then I'm going to go ahead and delete this crown because I no longer need it. And I'm going to bring this little tooth in here. Let me right click and say send to front. I'm going to bring this tooth in here and I'm going to put it right here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do with the tooth is I'm actually going to have it cut out of the card so that the back piece and the print that I have on this back piece is going to shine through. So you'll see a little print in there. So what I want to do first is I'm going to go ahead and hide this piece right here. I'll just hide it really quickly. And then I will go ahead and take my sentiments. So I'll grab those two sentiments and I'll attach those together, move them off to the side. Then I'm going to take my card and my tooth and make sure you only have 2 layers selected, because the next thing we're going to do is slice. So once I hit slice, then it's going to slice out that little part of the tooth out of my card, which is really cute. And then you can just delete these other pieces right here. So now I'll show you, I'm going to unhide my back piece and you'll see that that little slice has the back piece all shining through. Okay, so now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to bring this back over here, our little sentiment, then place it where we would like it on the card. I think that's really, really cute, just like that. And then we are going to select everything and we are going to click attach. Now attach is going to tell your Cricut that you want it to write out your words exactly how you place them on this card. So it's really important that you do the attach. Okay, so now we are all set. Again, I'm going to hide that other cut because I'm just going to cut that out on a paper trimmer. You can certainly have your Cricut cut it out as well, but I just find it so much easier and quicker to do it the other way. Okay, so now I'm going to say make it and we'll see how it looks on our mat so we can verify everything is exactly how we want it. Okay, so you'll see on your mat that it has the card and then everything is exactly how we want it to be. So we did a great job. Now we can say continue. Now I'm going to browse all materials and then I am going to say medium cardstock for my setting. Then I'm going to say done and then I'm going to decide on what color pen. It does say black pen, but you are welcome to put in another color into the machine.
Okay, so I have my cardstock right on my blue light grip mat, so I'm going to go ahead and load that. I went ahead and decided just to do the black pen, that way I know it's going to be really, really bold and legible. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in clamp A, just like that, and close it, and then I can go ahead and say go on my Cricut. So it's drawing out with the Cricut pen right now, and the great thing about the Cricut Explorer 2 and the Maker is that it has the 2 little slots, so you can have a pen in one and the blade in the other, so you don't have to wait and insert one before the other. So as soon as it's done with the pen, then it will start cutting. Okay, so that is all done cutting and writing. So I'm going to make sure I don't forget to take my pen out so that I can cover it up. That way it doesn't dry out. And now what I can do is get my little card off of the mat. So I'm going to turn my card or my mat over and just bend that mat away. I just kind of roll that mat and then I can grab my little card right off of it. Okay, so that's all ready to go. Now I have a little piece of paper. It's kind of a little watercolory pink that's really, really nice. And I'm going to place my little sentiment on top. So again, that little tooth is going to shine through. That's just adorable. I love that. Okay, you can use any adhesive you'd like. I'm simply going to use a glue stick. I find that it works just how I need it to, but feel free to use whatever you'd like. And getting into that little tooth area where it has that little notch to make sure that lays down nice. Okay, and then we'll just place it right on here. You can also use pop dots if you want to bring that up off of the paper a little bit more, but I think that this is going to be perfect for what I'm doing. Okay, so glue that there. Super, super easy, super quick. And then you have your little note from the Tooth Fairy. Okay, so the third idea is making some confetti to sprinkle around the little area. Again, you will have your little area for the tooth, and then you will have a note, and then we'll do some confetti to lay down on the table as well. So let's hop back into Design Space. We'll make the confetti super easy, super quick, and we'll get everything all ready.
Okay, so now we're back in Cricut Design Space. Now what I want to do is I'm just going to hide this little note because I want to keep this and save my project for when my next little one loses her tooth. Okay, so we'll keep this. I'm going to just hide that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this same tooth. Now we've used this 3 times. We've used it for the little container, we've used it for our card, and now we're going to use it for confetti. So basic files. I'm going to make these, I'm going to make them about 3/4 of an inch. I think that will look really nice. And you can size them up or down however you'd like. I want them to be nice and big enough, but also small enough, if that makes sense. So 3/4 of an inch, I think, is going to be just fine. So I have them sized. Now what I want to do is I want to make a bunch. So I'm going to go ahead and come over to the top of my layers panel, and I'm going to duplicate that about 5 times. So let's do that. Let's duplicate that, and then I kind of put them in a row, and this is how I end up making my confetti in larger quantities. I guess this is actually my first time making confetti, but this is how I make anything in larger quantities. So I'm going to grab all of them, and then I'm going to say duplicate again. Now I don't want to make too many, but I'm going to make about 25 just to have a little nice sprinkling over that area. Okay, so now it doesn't matter where they are on this mat because it's going to put them all in a different spot on the next part. So wherever they are on here is fine. I'm just going to go ahead and say make it, and then it's going to put it on my next mat. Now remember, you can actually move these around, and I'm actually going to use a very small piece of glitter cardstock. So I actually am going to move some of these around just to make sure that it fits on the small scrap piece that I have. So whenever you are coming into this mat preview screen, know that you can move these around to fit the size of scrap piece or material that you have. Okay, so I have a silly shaped size of scrap piece, so this is why I'm arranging it a little bit differently on my screen. And then I'm going to say continue, and then I'm using more of a glitter cardstock, so I'm going to browse all material. I'm going to say glitter cardstock, and then I am going to add a little bit more pressure just because my blade is getting a little dull. Okay, so now I will load my material into my machine and get it cutting.
Okay, so it cut out all of my little pieces. I'm going to go ahead and unload my mat, and then I'm going to turn my mat upside down again, and then I'm pull the little extra pieces away, and that leaves my little confetti pieces on the mat here. So now what I can do is I can actually just kind of bend my mat, and I can either use my finger, which is just as effective. You can use tweezers, you can use this little spatula tool, which can be just as effective too. It's kind of like peeling up cookies off of a cookie sheet to remove your little pieces. Okay, so here are all of the little pieces and how they all came together. I think it's going to be really, really fun for a little surprise the morning after the Tooth Fairy comes. So I would recommend that if you are making the confetti that you choose a material that is double-sided. I was working in a rush, or am working in a rush, because every morning I wake up and that tooth is wiggling just a little bit more, and I keep panicking, and I have to come down here and get on my Cricut to make sure I am all prepared. That way I'm not doing it the night of. So I was just using what I have on hand, but I would recommend doing a double-side cardstock. That way when you end up just tossing it, all the confetti around, you're not worrying about placing it one side up or the other. So go ahead and do that with the material that you choose to use. There's a lot of different material that you can use to make confetti to make it really, really cute. All right, everyone, be sure to let me know how you liked this. Be sure to give this a thumbs up if this inspired you in any way. Also, let me know what the Tooth Fairy at your house brings. I would love to hear what you guys do for your little ones. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.